So today, Jayne is going to show me how to do project labels. Now, before, when we were here together before, I promised that I was going to make a label for my grandson's quilt.
You did?
Needless to say, it's still on the to-do list. But this would really inspire me because I haven't got his isn't Batman, but what a great idea for
that's
quilts.
for my grandson's birthday, which is in May. So hopefully the quilt will be finished to attach the label at that point.
Well, I'm sure
you'll live in hope.
And you've done, because it's black, we've got lovely fluorescent emblems here with the Batman emblems and fluorescent
thread. It's embroidery thread as well, and it really pops out. It just gives you an extra,
wonderful,
especially for the children with the really bright colours.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So, and we've got, so the project label, so we've got a lovely book here full of ideas. This is a lovely one, which appeals to me, of course, patchwork, and with the words in the middle. And then probably another one that I should be going towards for Ollie, which says, made with love by Grandma.
Yes.
A few buttons on the back. I think he's old enough to tolerate buttons. But this is a lovely old project that I have hanging on the wall. Which is, I transferred words just with the photocopier. It's a poem. So could I do a poem with words using this machine?
You could. I mean, I've done this one. Let me pop that out of the way. I've done this one, which is obviously shorter, but there's nothing to stop. You can make it as large or as small as you want with the writing. So
okay.
It's just
and do we do it kind of a section at a time or a line at a time?
I would do a line at a time. You can get up to 50 characters into the machine at any one time.
Okay.
And don't forget, we can also save basic things on the machine as well.
But that would be one long line, would it?
It's up to you.
We've got the opportunity to go back to the beginning.
As I've said to you before, I've got a little box here. And I just tend to, I'll use felts.
They're like samples.
And they're like little templates. And I will stitch all these out and I keep them because I use different ones over and over again. And it's just a really nice way. You can line them up. This little bag here has got all the bits out of this label in it.
Such a sweet little label.
So, you can just really play with it. It's a bit like, again, it's a bit like the fuzzy felt. So you can really play with the different ones. I mean, there's Batman. So, and it's a really nice way, so you can line it up how you want to, mark it out. I'll do one in a moment, and I use the ruler and the marker and a erasable marker pen or a heat.
So this you would put into the machine using the alphabet.
Yes.
This is a predetermined one.
That's a predetermined one that's built into the machine. Yes, which
you're putting pictographs,
nice.
Is it?
Yeah, it's quite a nice little one.
Okay.
So it is just. So it's a really nice way. So it's very handy. We've all got a few of these around at home.
Oh, absolutely.
And I just pop everything in there, and then you can just really. I mean, I've got Happy Birthday Jacob again here, so I can redo that on something else for another year. I'm not tied to doing the whole.
So can we have a go and do a bit of stitching?
I think we should. I think we'll have a go at this one.
Okay.
Which is a hug from me to you, and I'm going to pop. This is a little stitch on the bottom. That one on the bottom.
All right.
Put those out of the way. Let's just pop those out of the way somewhere. I'll give those to you.
Right.
I'm going to pop them onto here. And again, I've got my pen and everything with me. So I would place that where I want it on here. I'm hoping I'm fairly straight.
So this is a piece that's been prepared
that's a piece
and
of
it's
felt.
Bigger than you want, is it?
We can pop it onto here if you want. Yes. This is a piece of white cotton and I've just ironed on a really soft piece of stabiliser on the back because I don't want a really stiff, hard label if you just put the tear away on. They can be a little bit hard sometimes. So shall we pop it onto this one instead? Okay. Let's pop it onto here. So again, I can put it fairly central and say I can't really. So I'm going to turn it round. So
any pen that kind of disappears.
One that disappears. If you're using an air erasable one, make sure that you're going to stitch it fairly quickly. We've all marked things out and then gone back an hour later and it's totally disappeared. This one is one of these, and I'm just going to put a little dot there. And then I know I'm pretty central with it, and I'll put a little dot at the end when I can get my fingers under there. And then with my ruler, I will just join them up.
Okay. So I'm really taken with these pens that disappear with my recent acquisition that I'm in love with is the pens that disappear with the iron.
That's what this one does, this one does. What I would say is I've had people, they've taken quilts abroad, and if it's in the aircraft hold where it's really cold, they will reappear again.
They will. Yes.
So there is always that.
Yeah.
And again, test it on a scrap of fabric first, because I've had some fabrics where it's not totally disappeared. So
yes, if it's that precious, you're right.
Yeah, it is just go. So I'm ready to go with that now. So we need to pop the words into the machine now.
All right.
So we've got fonts here, and on the machine I press the A. Okay, and I'm going to do this one in the 9mm. 9mm is uppercase only.
Okay.
The 7mm on the block
That's
script
the
to the
height,
Broadway.
is it?
Yeah,
You're talking,
upper
yes,
and
okay.
lowercase. So if I just pop this in, so it should go in, right, and then a space.
Okay. So if you wanted to do this more than one time, this is very tedious to write it all out. Has it got a memory?
It has got a memory.
So we could stuff it in the memory.
You could pop it in the memory if it's one you're going to do all the time.
Well,
you can pop it
right.
in the memory, and then you've got your little template there to get it all
why
marked
wouldn't
out
you
again.
do that for each of your quilts? There is a national charity that says that the quilts are hugs.
Yeah.
So that would be a lovely label for
So
them.
again, check your spelling, because I say there's always the one time. I can guarantee the one time you don't check it is the one time that you will have spelt it
Does
wrong.
it need a lock stitch at the end?
No, because with the alphabet, as long as I've not put a decorative stitch on it anywhere,
okay.
it will automatically stop for me. And again, we are using the satin stitch foot again for this.
Okie doke.
So I'm going to, it's where you want to line them up with these.
So is it the edge of
It's entirely up to you. I tend to run that
bottom?
line on the inside of my foot.
Right.
Here, it's entirely up to you. You will find your own way.
Yes, once you get
you
your
may
eye
want to
in.
line it up with the little red line in the centre. I just find it easier to do it this way. It's purely personal preference.
So it's kind of the bottom row of stitching, maybe, is it? That line is.
So it's telling me I've got the foot control and I forgot.
All right.
So again. And again, whenever you're following any lines when you're stitching, don't watch the needle, watch the line.
Yes, needle does its thing,
the
doesn't
needle's
it?
going to follow that foot wherever, but if you sort of veer off on the line.
And also, if you follow the needle's going backwards and forwards.
Yes.
It's doing all of this, isn't it? So
it's just, keeping that line exactly there where I want it. So, and the nice thing, if you make your label slightly larger, then you've got a little bit of give and take for the trimming afterwards. And pop a patchwork border on it, like we've done with the Batman label. We've always got scraps left from quilts, so just pop a border on. And again, make sure you use a nice bright thread so it really stands out as well.
Yes. Yeah. So again, any thread that really is the right colour.
Yes. Yeah.
You don't have to.
I mean, I've got embroidery thread on at the moment,
Right.
but I would use a normal sewing thread as well.
Yeah, and with an embroidery needle.
This is a purple tip needle in,
Yes.
which I tend to use a lot when I'm quilting now.
Okay.
Because it's got really good, gives you an excellent finish. Yeah.
They were designed for a purpose, is what I always say.
We love purple tip
Yes,
needles.
I agree with you. They are fantastic.
Yeah.
They're much more tolerant, aren't they?
Yes. They use a lot of things. And again, when you're doing something like this, don't have the machine going on full speed.
No, not too fast, huh?
I'm always of the opinion it takes a lot longer to unpick it than it does to sew it.
Well,
if
that's
you go
for
too
sure.
fast.
And you do have to be a tad patient because there's a lot of stitching going on
There is,
here.
yeah.
It is. Not as patient as satin stitch. No, this is nice.
Oh gosh, no.
But when you finish this, I can see on this sample here, we've got some what I call joined up stitching here. This is your template, so I'm not going to mess with it. But on the real thing, do you snip those ones out?
I would snip them out in between. I mean, you can snip them out on there if you want.
It would make, may I? It just makes the reading possibly a little easier, doesn't it? Let me just do the...
Yeah, so you can snip them out on this one if you'd like.
I've done this one now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, that's so much easier to read, isn't it?
You can snip in between the letters if you want as well. But you can, just take these little stitches out in between.
But joined up free motion drawing I would have the H to the U to the G. So the machine.
It's personal preference, like those things.
No, but I don't think visually that's.
But it's just taking the ones out in between again because these are just little templates. I don't bother.
And personal choice as to the distance between your lines here, because this is text, and then you've made a choice to have more space here.
I think it just set it off a little bit better. So we can pop this one on here now, and I will do it exactly the same. I'll take it a little bit further down. Let's get my pen back.
With your ruler.
And again, it's just sometimes it's worth, I will just take it in the middle, and it's just take it, you can take it down. A lot of it, you can measure it if you want, but I tend to do a lot of these by eye.
Well, some of us have a very good eye. I'll be honest. I think I would be measuring it, but nevertheless, whatever works. And then, do you mark this? This is one of my favourite stitches. You've got lovely variegated thread on here. There's one of the pre-designed stitches here. So, would you have marked that?
I didn't know. I went for it. Yes, I just went.
I think I would mark it.
And I think as well with these, don't forget you've got the start over feature with these. So when you get to the corners, you can swivel and then press start over, so you go back to the front of the stitch again.
Yes.
So that's a really nice feature.
Yes, makes a nice corner.
So I'm going to pop these on here, and I'm going to take these only about half an inch further down. Where are we at? Yeah. And it's just a case of just pop it along. So take that way.
And this is.
And that's for the little heart, so I'll just pop those.
So is that a pre-design on the? That must be a pre-design on the machine.
This is actually one of the stitches on the machine. It's in pictograph, and it's number 1 in pictograph.
Okay.
So I'm going to go back to here to lose those. Go on to there. Pictograph again. It's through the page.
Right.
Onto there. And it's the first stitch. But I only want 3, so I'm just going to pop there. And I'm just going to go 2, 3. It doesn't put the extra. You won't see another stitch being on, but just check then in your preview that you've got the 3 stitches in there.
Okay.
And then we do exactly the same again. We can just start sewing with it. Hold the foot down. Again, I tend to do the foot on manual when I'm doing these to start with. It should be about there, I think. And then with this again, lock stitch on the end, will I remember, or we'll just keep continually.
It would do lots of 3s. Okay.
Well, it would just continually do it because.
Okay, even though you only asked it for 3.
I've asked it for 3, but normally on this side where you're combining your stitches, you would combine different stitches to make a pattern.
Yes.
Because I only want 3, so if I pop a lock stitch, and I'm doing it again. Keep forgetting I've got the foot control
on control today.
Yeah, and again, it's
good that the machine tells you.
It does. It tells me off frequently. And it's just a really nice finish, just to put some little decorative stitches on.
Very nice.
Just to make it slightly different.
Very nice.
So, and again with these, it's just a white cotton, but you could use cotton that you've been working with on your quilts. Absolutely anything. And again, with the little decorative stitching around there, I just used a variegated thread to give it a little bit more interest. Yes.
And then put the patchworky bit on. I can see. Yeah.
I've done the whole thing. I've done the stitches straight through. Yeah. And that was just by taking the top foot pressure off when you're stitching. Okay. I think we've looked at that before, taking the top foot pressure off.
Okay.
I think that's fairly straight.
I think, yes, I think you've done a good job on that. Very nice.
And again, lovely automatic cotton.
I was going to say,
and there's love that. Yeah. And then once you've pressed that, all the blue lines will go, and you can do what you like. That's probably a little bit further than we would normally cut it, but it's just, it's just a really nice personal touch to add to quilts when you're finished. I think it really is. So we're going to finish off where we started with this lovely quilt, and I'm definitely going home to make my label for Ollie's quilt.